Hey guys, so this is just going to be about a cube and square root trick. Alright, so cube and square roots trick. Okay, well, first of all, let's just define what is a cube root. What is a cube root? Well, a cube root is just if you take any number, right, then the cube root of that number is, well, it's just the number that number times itself 3 times is equal to the number under in the radical, in the square root symbol. So, well, an example, 729. Now, this only has just one cube root, and that is 9. Because, well, what's 9 times 9 times 9, which is 3 times, so 9 times 9 times 9. Well, 9 times 9 is 81, right? Times 9. 81 times 9, 8 plus 9 is 72. Add the 0, and just add 9, 729, right? So, well then, the cube root of 729 is 9. So, well, let's just define what a square root is now. What is a square root? Square root. Alright, well, a square root is just you take a radical symbol, right? Put a number on it. Let's say 576, and well, it's just a number that you take that number and then multiply it by itself once. So it's like that number times itself equals whatever is in the radical sign, is in the square root symbol, right? So in this case, though, the square root of 576 for square roots, not for cube roots, but for square roots, though, the square root will always be plus or minus, not just plus, as long as it is as long as it is not a complex number, usually. Alright, so, well, the square root of 576, though, is 2 answers, plus 24 and minus 24. Alright, because, well, 24 times 24 is 576. I find it very easy to do like calculations in my head, but so I'm just going to do it out loud as well. 24 times 24, well, 20 times 2, right, is 40, then you just add the 0, plus 4 times 2, though, is 8, just add the 0 again, which is 480. And then, well, you just do 24 times 4, well, 20 times, use the distributive property, right, because 20 times 4 is 80, plus 4 times 4 is just 96, or you could just check it in your calculator. So 24 times 24, though, is indeed 576. Negative 24 times negative 24, well, since 24 times 24 is just 576, well, what's negative times negative? Well, that's a positive, right? So negative times negative is always a positive. Alright, so now we have our, like, terms defined, but what's the actual trick, though? Alright, well, most people, when you see this, including me for a long time, well, if you try just, as an example, let's do one with cube roots for right now. 512, right? Well, what is the cube root of 512? So what I usually do, or what I advise people to do, though, is just memorize these. You have to memorize these. It's a cool party trick. Alright, so we have to memorize these. So 1 cubed is 1, 2 cubed is 8, 3 cubed is 27, 4 cubed is 64, 5 cubed is 125, 6 cubed is 216, 7 cubed is 343, and 8 cubed is 512, and 9 cubed is 721, right? So, well, the actual trick though is just, so say you have a calculator, right? And you and you think of either a single or double digit number. The example we're using right now is 8, right? And you just, well, you multiply it by itself 3 times, right? 8 times 8 times 8, but you don't tell me that, though. That's another crucial part. You don't tell me the number that you started with, but however, you do tell me the number you ended with, though. So 512, right? I just go back in my little knowledge right here that 8 cubed is 512 in that case. Now, well, what's even more impressive, though, is that you can do it for. Alright, so what's the cube root of 1 for double digit numbers too? Well, what's the cube root of 1728? Well, to do that, you just have to memorize this. Alright, so, well, 10 cubed is 1000, we all know that, right? 20 cubed is 8000, 30 cubed is 27,000, 40 cubed is 64,000, 50 cubed is 125,000, 60 cubed is 216,000, 70 cubed 343,000, 80 cubed 512,000, and 90 cubed is 729,000, right? So 1,000, the cube root of 1,728, right? Well, you know it's going to be a positive number, and you know that it's going to be between 10 and 20 though, right? Because 10 cubed is 1,000 and 20 cubed is 8,000. So it's in the middle of these. So you just have to, well, you have to like determine the middle, right? So it's between 10 and 20. And then, okay, well, this is the part with the second digit though. So this right here, you just have to determine the middle and know this. Okay, so that's the first digit, right? But the second digit though, you actually have to do some thinking. So, well, in this case though, the last digit is an 8, right? So, well, you just, what cubed from what we just learned before is 8? Well, in that case, it's 2, right? So the first digit is 1, second is 2, so it's a plus 12. The answer is just 12. You can check that on your calculator if you want. 12 cubed is indeed 1,720. Now we can do square roots. So these are all basic facts, but you still have to know them though to do the trick. Okay, well, 1 squared is 1, 2 squared is 4, 3 squared is 9, 4 squared is 16, 5 squared is 25, 6 squared is 36, 7 squared is 49, 8 squared is 64, 9 squared is 81. So, well, if we do one example from here, what's the square root of 49? Well, that you can just say plus or minus 7, because we learned that in school, right? We learned in like second or third grade that it's plus 7, and then later in pre-algebra you learned that it can be a minus 7 as well. So, well, given that knowledge though, right, let's try a harder one. What is the square root of, say, well, let's try 676. Alright, well, 20 Now, this is what you have to memorize for this one. 10 squared is 100. 20 squared, 400. 30 squared, 900. 40 squared, 1600. 50 squared is 2500. 60 squared is 3600. 70 squared is 4900. 80 squared is 6400. 90 squared is 8100. And if you want, you can do 100 squared is equal to 10,000. Okay, so, well, in this case, 10 squared is 100, right? 20 squared is 400, 30 squared is 900. So it's between 400 and 900, right? So it's between 20 and, so it's somewhere from 20 to 30, right? So we'll take the last digit again, though. And 1 squared is just 1, so that's not it. 2 squared is 4, that's not it. 3 squared is 9, that's not it. 4 squared is 16, though. 16. Now, these last digits, alright, well, they match up. However, that is not actually the answer, though, because usually you just check it. 24 times 24 is 576. 5 squared is 25, 6 squared is 36, right? So that's also another possibility, though. 7 squared is 49, 8 squared is 64, and 9 squared is just 81. So we have one of two possibilities, so it's either 24 or 26, right? So just do 26 times 26, and then you can do 24 times 24, and it turns out being 26 times 26. So, especially if you have paper, though, it's just a neat party trick. Later.